Okay, we're going live. I have my mint green tea.
Mint green tea.
That's my first taste of it. Yeah, mint green
And
tea.
I've got yummy chai tea.
Chai
Finally.
tea. It's
Yeah.
got too much herbs in it. You know, chai tea. It's a little bit strong. Yeah, you left a whole carton of chai tea in the refrigerator.
Yeah, I can't because bringing anything like that over, they'll absolutely go through your bags in customs. So I never take anything that looks like
Oh,
food. Yeah.
that sucks. Why isn't this working? Oh, here we go. I guess I'll feed it. I'll put it in a bowl and I feed it to the cats and the
Oh, no,
raccoons.
you could give it back to, it's just that chai. Beth gave it to me. Just give it back to Beth.
Oh yeah. And how about the 50 containers of soup?
Beth keeps giving, are we on live already?
Yes,
Well,
we
you
are.
should tell me when we're on live. I could say things that I shouldn't be saying. Yeah, Beth, every time I went over there, she said, here, give some more soup to Todd. And when she gets back, she's going to give you a lot more.
I'm not taking anymore. I'm giving some back. We got 49 people in the house. How's it going, everybody? It's good to see you. Welcome. You ready to start? Okay, thank you for joining us. This is the new 5D Earth transmission, Divine Trinity Frequency Mission. New method of communication. Yeah, we got people from all over the world. Where is it morning in Southern Hemisphere? Somebody say good morning. Okay. I once did a show for 1 hour with somebody who didn't say a word. Do you remember?
What are you doing? It's not like you not to talk.
Well, I thought we just let the energy speak for itself, which
Oh.
is, I was being led by my divine feminine internally and externally. You start to see the symmetry of the story. It's incredible. So we have some current intel, I guess you would call it that, from a personal, yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. But maybe we could do that a bit after.
Okay.
Yeah.
What would you like to do?
I don't know. You're the host.
I'm not the host. You're the producer. You're the producer. Why is everybody happy? Because, great question. Dave Thailand's from the Netherlands. He's 4 o'clock in the Netherlands. Why am I nervous? And he's been up for an hour. He says, why is everybody happy? I think there's a lot of happy people, regardless of the seeming complexity of all the mixed energies and quick cycles. I think there's a lot of people that are happy and confident in the energy that pulls us all together. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I agree with you. I think that's absolutely spot on.
Yeah.
Mm.
It takes some getting used to. You know what it reminds me of? I don't know if I ever had one, but like soft t-shirts. Like some people have these sheets. You go to their house and they've had these sheets for like 10 years and they're really soft. Sometimes they have holes in them and they're really comfortable, like a soft t-shirt. It feels like that, but it feels strange for it to be at this level of the consciousness. I had to clear my throat. So you're really okay. We could do some O cards. No, no. Let's save that for the very end. So we can make a
Okay.
quick. So we can have a quick exit. So David Manning was on today, and he said two things. He said one, that the energy of the last 3 days for him had been really, really intense. And I thought, I don't even know if that's how I felt. I just felt like the last few weeks have been intense, but definitely the last few days. I don't think we're getting a break. Do you?
It doesn't look like, but why would you want to break from this? It's sensational.
Hmm.
Like it feels like the quickening. Okay, I'm going to have to because I don't know. It's a.
Yes.
I got woken at 4 o'clock this morning with a massive big download of information that was so much. I just thought it's too much. So I laid there, and it took an hour to start breaking down. And I still don't fully understand it, but I've got bits and pieces, and I guess other people would help fill that in. But it was almost like we've reached that point of the quickening. And I'm just going to share some of the things I was shown. That, like the Dalai Lama said, the Western woman would be the ones that would change the world. That came in. For me personally, I've come into this environment which was really quite shocking. I cried the first day, or for the first hour that I arrived here, and then you could see everything that I tried to set life back up here was just chaos, and a wall after a wall after a wall, and more chaos, as well as the chaos of being stuck in quarantine. But at the same time, there was this other energy that was just totally accepting and calm with it. And I've really noticed in the last couple of weeks that, and it's been building, but it's really quickening now, where it's just the choice point is like within seconds. You come up against this chaos. The old self wants to really fall into it and have a nervous breakdown or react to it or something. And then instantly you make this choice of, you know what, I'm just going to let that go. And you're back in bliss again.
Yeah.
And I think you noticed that today as well, didn't you? You had
Mhm.
an experience today where you normally would have reacted to it, and then you went, you know what, I'm just going to let it go. And then it was instantly gone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm.
It's saying no and yes to yourself. Embody.
You
And
are
so,
unusually quiet.
haven't you noticed I'm becoming more quiet? You should know that better than anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when we talked about this today, so for me, you know, our relationship seems to follow the feminine masculine frequencies in the physical, and you channel. When we connect, it's 95, 99% of the time you're doing the talking. And so a lot of times when we talk, you're filling in the space for me. I can feel it clairsentiently, but not verbalize it. And so when you told me everything you told me today, one of the things that really clicked was, because it kind of came in before, but didn't come all the way in. And that is that if you look at what's happening, our entire way of experiencing life is changing. due to this higher level intelligence that is a part of us coming in. So I just clicked to that. What we're doing is we're actually following intuition, which is something that we've all been privy to, especially through women, if we think back in our lives. But we're actually conducting ourselves from a place of listening to that intuition versus just acknowledging it. That's just something that clicked for me. I don't know if anybody can relate to that. No, the cat doesn't have my tongue. Pinky Toes. I noticed she's a new and welcome. It might be Bruce, though, because she writes a lot like Bruce. Yeah, so that's and it makes sense to me. If we're embodying, I mean, if we think about our lives, how many times have we not listened to our intuition and imagination? Sometimes just because it's never been validated, and other times because people would think you were crazy. And I think we're actually starting to implement intuition into our lives. What do you think, Morgan Lee?
I mean, for some of us, it's always been there. And I mean, I'm struggling more and more to talk about the masculine and feminine.
Yeah.
But, it's just a fact. The feminine have naturally had this intuition. And what I'm really enjoying watching is more and more men aligning with that intuition as well. You can see it coming online.
I'm just making a joke. I'm not saying I've
got
done
bigger muscles than you.
What are you
Don't do that.
talking about? Look at that.
I have. I have. I've got like muscle definition.
You
and
have
you've got chicken wings.
That's because I'm direct from the Blue Avians.
Okay.
But I can jump over tall buildings. And I can physically teleport.
It's looking that way, isn't it?
Yes,
We've really noticed it very quickly. I don't know if it was the first night or the second night, like massive. And we're not going to go into details because we're still getting our head around it.
It was
and
fucking...
I don't know if I'm that open yet.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. It was... We don't have to talk about it, but I mean, oh my.
No, we're not going to talk about it. Todd, we're not going to talk about it. But yeah, we've noticed a huge leap, and it's interesting because we began in our relationship with Helios Gamos, which was the two higher selves merging, and then the human bodies and the human minds and everything could feel that. And then over this year, we've actually seen our light bodies come up, and our light bodies, do certain things and merging, and where the humans just, laying there with their hands together, watching what the light bodies could do. Whether it was, my light body would come out and sometimes would be masculine, and then Todd's light body would come out be feminine, or sometimes it was masculine, or I think the last time was feminine. So,
yes.
Our light bodies are just doing whatever needs to be done. But yeah, that other thing was like something completely different again. Completely different again. Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
And we're aware that it's just going to expand. And we knew, when this decision just came so quickly from nowhere, really, we both understood that part of us separating was going to be for expansion for the individual, and then secondary, the relationship. So, whatever we're going through at the moment, we feel first and foremost within our own individual selves, and then we see it reflected immediately within the relationship.
Yeah. And representative of energy or code or templates or whatever that are obviously available, because we're not the only ones. And it doesn't necessarily even show up just in romantic connections, because what we experienced, whatever that night that was, or day, because it was not on the linear timeline, it was actually more like 3 episodes, but it was all in one. But anyway,
we experienced it as 3 different episodes. So for me, it happened at 10 o'clock that night.
Yeah.
For you, it was like the next morning. But I actually made a note. I made a note. I looked at the time difference. I'm like, this is going to be Todd's 8 a.m. So when you did get up, and I was able to say to you, what time did you wake this morning? What did you do? What happened? And he told me everything that he experienced at 8 a.m. that I had experienced. Well, it's the same time, but for me, it was the night before.
Yeah.
God,
Well, I had
yeah.
actually experienced it in lucid dream. I set intentions, had a lucid
Mm.
dreams, woke up, had memory, woke up again. That's about the time you had it, and then I had it again in the shower. and
Todd,
but
you
but it
you
but it was
created it.
huh,
You
yeah,
created it. You thought it. You set the intention, like, before you went to bed. Hours later, I experienced it,
yeah, yeah.
and and then when you woke the next morning, which was actually exactly the same time that I did experience, I think, wasn't it, Todd? Yes.
Well, yeah, you got it exactly right, except for one part. I didn't start it because I lay down to go to sleep. I was very tired, and your higher self appeared before me.
All right. No
That's how it
details.
happened.
That's just, yeah. Okay. Well, okay. We might have accidentally both created something that
uh,
neither of us knew about, and then
I'm
our
just playing.
physical bodies reacted to it and had the actual
Mm,
experiences. So it
yeah,
almost happened in reverse. Usually we have awareness of
yeah,
higher self or light body. This time our physical bodies
yeah, yeah.
went first.
Yeah, the physical bodies.
All right,
That
let's
shows that the physicality came through, and it's going to come through more and more. And so this is just one of the many aspects in our expansion, all of us, that are going to come into play.
mm,
It's real.
mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's really tricky to get your head around, because for me it was like there was an invisible person in the room, a complete invisible presence. Had no, usually I can see his light body or I can see his higher self. They weren't there. So it was almost like, God, I hope this is Todd. It could be a
I hope
ghost. Like
this is hell, nobody else has the key.
All right, let's change the subject.
There was one more part.
Hmm.
Well, like, I mean, this is okay. So you can feel it, what's happening, and even our denial or lack of belief in what we can do isn't going to be enough to hold back this collective energy. That's how it feels to me. I am tired. I've been in Helios Gamos in some new dimension like four times in 2 days.
Who with?
You.
Oh,
You're just not getting the intel. uh, no, what I've noticed is when we do have things like that occur, there's usually a huge collective threshold that's been crossed, and it usually is a while before something to that extent happens again. There's usually a period where you integrate, right?
we had a similar experience a few years ago. I think you were doing a live with Laura Hazel.
Mm-hmm. Laura Hazel,
Laura
Florida.
Hazel. And I got woken in the middle of the night,
Yeah.
and I could feel your hands all over my body. And I
Mm.
was thinking, what the hell is going on here? I mean, it was so powerful. It was like, God, it was like you were in the room, but you were invisible, and you were just touching all of my chakras. It was sort
Yeah.
of innocent.
And it
You were
happened
touching
during.
all of, and you were on a show with Laura, and she was talking about the abilities of
Mm,
bilocation or something
mm.
like that. We experienced that in the moment. And then you finished up the show, and we were able to do really whatever we wanted. And then the other could, and it sounds like sex, but it wasn't. We were able to touch each other's chakras, or do fairly innocent things to each other, and the sensation we were able to feel at the same time.
Yeah.
This was similar but different, deeper, bigger. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think
It was.
it's time to talk about something else.
It was very soul sexy. That's no doubt. Okay. Next subject. Uh, well, yeah. So there's more coming online and we've been talking about it in these communities. Telepathy, of course, the intuition, the diminishing reality of space, and of course, time's been doing really weird stuff for a year and a half. So And how can two people with such a deep connection be on different parts of the world and actually be expanding in their connection and their love for each other and themselves and everything else? And again, we're not the only ones. And it doesn't have to be a romantic connection. It can be one person within themselves, because that's what I think a lot more people than we think might have gotten enough alignment, let's just say within divine union within themselves, that it's creating these external physical scenarios and situations and relationships and partners and all that. And that's what we're going to be. That's a big part of what we'll be experiencing, especially with get-togethers.
You want to talk about this morning?
Well, we don't have
All
to
right.
yet, but yeah, it's up to you.
To take my chewy out, otherwise I might accidentally swallow it. Okay, so this morning, and
What's a chewy?
What's a chewy? What
It's
do you
like
mean? What's a chewy?
What's a chewy? Is that a pencil eraser? What's a chewy?
God, American chewy gum.
Oh, chicle. South Texas, we say chicle.
Right. Okay. So it was gum. A chewy. It's a chewing gum. We call in Australia. I think it's called a chewing gum, but we call it. I think we call it a chewy. You call it a gum. Yeah.
Chewy.
Here we are 5 years later, and we still have these, translation
I thought
periods.
Chewie was the guy from Star Wars, the big, Sasquatch.
Well, I didn't have him in my mouth. It was a piece of chewing gum.
Gatherings, intel from this morning.
Okay, so I woke this morning, all this information came in, and it was really exciting, and it was so much, and it was so fast. It actually took me, I just laid there in stillness, I think till 5:30, like trying to gather it all. And it was really exciting. I guess I started talking about, Dalai Lama saying years ago that the Western women are the ones that are going to change the world. I know it's not just me going through it, and I started to talk about it, is this like a quickening, like it doesn't matter what's happening, there's this other presence that's just constantly assuring you, don't worry about that, you don't know what's going on, everything's going to be perfect, you don't even waste your time thinking about what's going on, just let it flow. So the information that came through this morning is that in the next few days, between the full moon, which I think is on the 27th, or even a couple even days before the full moon. But
I didn't get that right. I thought you meant the full moon eclipse in May, but you're actually saying between when up to the full moon, or the full moon to the 5/5.
Some of us go early, so we are already in this energy now, but the information was for that period between the full moon and the 5/5 gateway. This is what I was shown and what I was told. I was told that all of the women, now I have a bit of trouble with this, because I think, well, men shouldn't be excluded, but we have carried this energy for so long, predominantly. It's not to say that men don't do it, but it's the feminine energy that actually does this, the channeling, the intuition, all that sort of stuff. And it's very exciting watching the men come online. And, I've watched you for the last couple of weeks really embody your feminine. So, and I can see that, why are you laughing?
You told me last night, man, your hair looks nice. What's happening? It's that feminine, I guess.
Yeah, you looked really pretty. It was all sort of down around your face. It was all soft, and you looked really pretty. But what I was told was it's time for us to come out of the shadows, to come out of hiding, and to start meeting with each other, to prepare gatherings, whether it's physically, whether it's on, what do you call it, Todd? Zoom, Zoom groups or whatever. And that it was going to be very, very important that we do this. And it doesn't matter if you do it today, tomorrow, the next day, the 5th, the 6th of May. Like, we've got to start coming together and just being with each other, looking at each other. And that it was very important that everyone that came to that had no plans, no agenda, that there wasn't a leader, that it was just gatherings of women that would come together, completely open, completely aligned with flow. And my understanding was if we could do this and hold that space, that all of this downloads would come to the groups. Maybe, and you don't know who it's going to be, but an individual would very likely in that group, or maybe a few individuals would download this because we were all together. That the energy was, that we were all actually hitting that point. Look, what I found about you is as you've done this, every time you take another step in this, I actually feel lifted up. And I'm not quite sure how that works. It's almost like, I hope you don't mind me talking like this, and it's a metaphoric. Like as your distorted masculine drops away and you step more into your feminine, your natural masculine aligns, and every time you do something, I get lifted up as well. So I'm sitting over here having the time of my life in hotel quarantine. You're doing all this hard work and I'm just lifting more and more and more. I actually feel like I'm rising through what you're doing. So it was explained to me that, we've all got to start
Something's
gathering.
rising. Well, I don't know.
All right, let's do this. Let's talk about your penis. Mr.
No,
Pinkleton,
no,
you brought it up. We can talk about it if you like.
no. I was just bringing in a little levity. That's it. Okay, this is important. Everybody's saying they're up for it.
Yep. So, and it was going to be very important that we do it. It doesn't matter if there's 3 people, 5 people, 10 people, 100 people. That everyone came with no expectations, no agendas, no plans. Usually that there's some people that are definite channelers. They even had to come with, I've got nothing to say. Like really come to that space completely open, completely empty, no expectations, and that even if we all just sat there in 100% silence, we would be gathering and building almost like a conductor of energy that would be sending out, yes, we're here, we're ready. What do you want to tell us? What is going to be flowing through? And I was shown, and respectfully, some people come into spaces like that and they want to talk. They wouldn't be allowed to do that. It was going to be so important that everyone came in that empty space, joined together, and just be open to see what came. And there was something about all of these conduits coming together in this really open space that was going to ignite whatever is coming.
Yeah. And that says a lot. I think of like, Stonehenge is in a circle for a reason. So there's something about that circle. There's something about the conscious of the unit, the conscious collective of the unit coming in that same, what you described. And that it's like also like another sign in being embodied of how we're going to live. It's closer to it. It's spontaneous, intuitive, creative, imaginative. It expands the it expands the ability to receive intuition. It opens up to that, which is what we're doing.
Yeah.
Which is,
they even went as far as to say, and not even like planned meditations, like that. We don't have to do anything to force this. We just have to come. If we wanted to sit there and giggle, do that. It's just like coming. There's no leaders. There's no one running anything. There's no agendas. There's no, well, I'm a channeler, I'm going to tell everyone what's happening. It had to be emptiness, solitude, stillness.
Yeah.
And, I don't know how it's going to happen, but I got the feeling that it's almost like everyone that was partaking in that would receive this energy, this information almost virtually or like all at once.
Yeah. Well, you know what? That would absolutely make sense, because things like that have happened, and everyone doesn't come to it at the same time. But the fact that the energy, is all localized like that, everybody would have to feel it.
And I know I've said women, but it's the feminine energy. So if let's say you organised like a Zoom link where you could have 100 or 200 or 300 people or whatever, and you know, obviously still now, predominantly it's always women anyway, but the men who were aware of their own feminine energy, or even if they just wanted to come and witness. So it's not shutting anyone out, but it's almost like a birthing, you know, a witnessing, the celebrating of the sacred feminine actually rising with no penis jokes. It's like it's a real rising and a witnessing and an activation, you know, all these humans coming together just there, don't know what's going to happen, and just witnessing and being open to what is going to be delivered.
Yeah. That could be really
Received.
good. Now that you're bringing it up like this. Well, you'd almost
I
have to.
brought it up like this morning.
I was still half off planet. No, I remember that. Well, I mean, if you had a moderator that did nothing more than, because if you had 100 people, 200 people, how would you couldn't just have all the mics on, but you could. They have a thing where you raise your hand, so the order they come in, you just have somebody just go from the one to the other to the other.
Mm.
Yeah, that would
And I
work.
was shown too that, you know, even if we do it with our little group of girlfriends, you know, in our own state, you can do it face to face there. But, you know, going further, you know, like getting people, you'd have to do a morning one where, you know, it suits the Australians and Americans, and then find a time where it's the Americans in the UK and then the Australian in the UK, like to really spread this out as far as possible. And no agenda, no expectations, no planning, no meditations. I think that you're right. I think that you would need a moderator,
You'd have
somebody
to.
who can turn speakers on for whoever feels like, okay, I'm going to speak. But it's, you know, it's like the humans activating, okay, we're ready. We've been in stillness. We've been in solitude. We're all receiving this quickening. We are all aware, you know, that the human might be saying, oh my goodness, I've come up against this doesn't feel right. And then there's this other voice that says, just trust, have absolute faith, you don't have to worry about a single thing. So having these group things with that same essence, that same type energy.
Look at this. That's
I have to put my
Monica.
glasses on.
That's Monica from Florida.
As you were speaking, when I was seeing women gathered in Sweat Lodge and speaking stick. Yes, I love that, Monica.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. But I mean, yeah, we obviously, I mean, everyone could bring their sticks, but I guess that would be what Todd was talking about. Someone could put their hand up and then the mic is turned on for them and they can speak to the group.
Yeah. In Zoom, the hand thing, that's the only way you could do it. You could do the messaging in Zoom, but there'd be too many coming too quick. It'd be different if you had 15 people, but I think a lot of, based on what I'm seeing here, I think you would have probably 150, 200 people, mostly women. So the hand thing would work.
Yeah. And the other thing that I saw too is that what we've been practicing really loudly, and it's getting louder and louder every day for the last couple of weeks, is this, you know, this difference of the human. Like for me, I've come into hotel quarantine, I get triggered, I cry for an hour, and then instantly I go, oh, you're all right, well, you're going to be fine, and then it's all over. Or I can't even remember, I've had 3 episodes here where I really got triggered and I didn't stay in it. I'm getting triggered every day. I come over here and find out my iPhone doesn't work. So I try to, I get a SIM card. I find out the SIM cards don't fit each trigger, each little thing I came up against, I got triggered, and immediately within seconds, the higher self, doesn't matter. And so then I think, okay, well, I'll go on a plan with Optus, and I find out, well, you can't get an iPhone if you don't have an address. So I think, well, when I get there, I'll go in. And then I find out you can't actually get an iPhone unless you've got a utility bill with your address on it. So then I hop on Gumtree today and think, well, I'm going to try to buy an iPhone. And you find out reception won't receive anything like that. It's like everything I come against, I get blocked at. And you would think the human would start getting really, and I need an iPhone because I can't actually get a house in Adelaide without this contact. So I keep coming up with all these walls. And once upon a time, like the human, and I feel it, I feel myself getting frustrated. And within seconds, oh, well, trust, don't worry about it. And then it's gone. And then, 15 minutes later, I'll come up with okay, I'll try this. And I'm coming up against all these walls that would usually cause some sort of stress or frustration. and it just goes as fast as it comes. And it's like we're in this massive chaos at the moment, and everyone knows that the chaos is almost like the doorway through to this next phase. And so the visual that I get is that, we're existing on like this 3D matrix, and this is a metaphor, and we're actually making a choice, these constant choices to keep landing back on this new grid and do the best to keep ourselves there.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've all done enough now, and we're in that space where, okay, let's all meet on the grid in silence and be open to flow, receiving, making sure that we don't bring any of that egoic, well, I want to do a meditation, or I'm going to be the key speaker, or I know what all this is about, I'm going to tell everyone. Like, all that has to be dropped away. It's almost like Monica said, women in a circle in silence, and you pass the stick and something comes.
And there's always multiple meanings and multiple purposes. And so when I listened to that, and then what you said, what Monica said, it's a physical, it's an embodiment. It's also representative of an energy that we're all involved in. And then I always try to break it down. And I was there because I see it. The circle is primarily in the physical because it follows the energetic. I'm sure in the energetic, we're all androgynous. We're sitting around, but this would be primarily a circle of women, certainly a circle of feminine energy. And so at the human level, because I've been a pretty good student for the last few years of understanding the true relationship between the masculine and the feminine from the human perspective, particularly the man. And one of the things that's helped me a lot, and I think it could certainly help men, and it might even help some women, in understanding where they're coming from, where I'm coming from, where we're coming from, is that this new line of communication, this new way of living, the women already know it. You know what I mean? This is how they communicated all along. And so not only are we learning a new language, but we're actually almost like a baby. You're actually having to engage a line of communication that is foreign. And so I think things like this, where the feminine frequency is energetically and otherwise, brought to a focal point, like we went to Sedona and it showed that it pulsed out. I think that's what happens. And I think it'd be awesome. Would we run it on the multi-stream or just make it?
Well, okay, so here's my other thought. What I'm talking about is what we're doing. And then you'd have to decide, well, is this going to be live, or should we just do it, tape it, and then we can all decide, yes, that needs to go out as a live. And it feels like it, whatever way it's done, it had to be safe and contained. I don't think, by putting it live, you open yourself up to, God, I sound, but I'm just going to say what I'm hearing. You open yourself up to some, those that don't want to be in it but want to observe. And, when you do these lives, everyone's offering their opinions. We actually don't want that. We don't want that energy in there. We want the energy of emptiness, of stillness, not everyone's opinion. So for me, I think, if you ran this, it would be great to do it as a closed thing, record it. And at the end, everyone can decide, do you think that we should, I don't know the words, Todd.
Multi-streaming.
Yeah, put it on afterwards. So I guess you would set up an invite for an event, I suppose.
I can do 1,000. I mean, I don't know if we'd have 1,000, but I can do 1,000, up to 1,000.
Well, brilliant. I mean, I looked at the times this morning after I got it, and I thought, God, what time could you capture Europe, UK, Australia, and USA?
Here, I can tell you.
Really. But I looked, it's really difficult.
I have that clock thing. All right, so let's see. 8 a.m. in Sydney, 6 p.m. I mean, I think you'd have to have two if you wanted to do it right.
And then you would hope that, everyone would start running their own things as well. I mean, we've all got groups of women that we know, and friends or men, feminine, however it looks, and that everyone's doing it as well. And that, I would get up at 4 o'clock in the morning if there was a UK one, I would get up and I'd want to be part of as many as possible for the crossover, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
So if you did a show at 6 a.m. in Sydney, it would be 4 p.m. in New York City, so noon on the Pacific Coast, and then it would be 9 p.m. in London.
So, okay, so 6 a.m. Sydney
So
time is potentially doable.
6, 7, 8 would be 11 p.m. in London. So there's I'd have to study it for a minute, but there's probably another pocket where they're all three intersect and somebody's getting up early. So maybe we do 2.
Yeah, or 3 or 4 or whatever, to capture as many. And every time you're in that Zoom group or every time you're in that group, we're all sharing codes and we're going through it again and expanding it again. I don't fully understand. I'm just sharing what I got and what I understood this morning. And I wouldn't be surprised at all. I mean, I can't see them. I can't see any of the messages or anything, but I wouldn't be surprised if I'm not the only one that's got this, that understand that we're coming out of this pregnancy stage and into the actual birth stage as a metaphor. But this time of quietness, I even saw, and I mean we've all known this anyway, like the perfection of the home quarantines and the so much of our lives shutting down because of the coronavirus and all of the perfection of that.
Yeah.
So I don't know, can you look at the messages and just see?
You can't see them?
No, I can't see them. I have to put my nose right up here and put my glasses on to be able to see them.
No, they're all for it. Everybody's all for it. I mean, hell, you guys want to do one today? I mean, probably it'd be better to put one out, maybe 2 this weekend. And the other thing is, I like the idea of what you said about not multi-streaming it live, because that does kind of take away from it. And I think because people that go into the Zoom room, they may just observe, but at least they're going in thinking, well, I'm open to, if something comes through me, I'm going to talk, and then take the 2 broadcasts and just throw it on the video production software and make one big.
But provided that it's a majority vote says yes, this actually does need to be streamed out. But I think, for the event that it's just, a thing, it's taped, and then everyone decides, will we broadcast this or not?
144 people in the house.
Oh,
so
gosh.
I have to say that one.
Love those numbers.
Yeah, I think that's a good plan, just to ask the group.
So my understanding is that, this is in readiness for the 555 gateway. And I'm aware also that the full moon on the 27th, and not forgetting that Australia is a day ahead. So we get our 27th is going to be your 26th, I guess. I don't even know what's coming. I've just been told, start getting together, whether you're with 3 people, 5 people, 10 people, 100 people, 1,000 people, and everyone needs to be in flow. Everyone, anyone that comes on and wants to talk about what they had for breakfast or, intel that they got last week, it's like, no, that's not a place. This is not the place for that.
That's another reason I think you need a moderator, just to be able to break in and say, hey, not in a bad way, but you know what I mean? Because people forget. I mean, and people get excited, and this kind of energy coming together,
yeah, of course,
does a lot of stuff.
Yeah. But for something like that, it just ends up being a distraction. Whereas, everyone needs to come into this and just be completely open, in flow, no plans, no, I'm going to do this, no, not even meditations. I know I'm repeating myself, but it's a space of absolute openness and emptiness, and let's all get together and just see what comes.
That's right. It's a lot like the previous Solargy gatherings, and about 16 hours at the festival is just open. You just leave it open, and who steps up and what happens it happens in the moment. And I bet you, especially the women, that what you're talking about, they've done at some point with a friend or friends, right?
Yes, we have. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're basically emulating that space that we all find within ourselves, and then what you guys have done in the sisterhood, you're basically emulating it with more people. So this is specifically 455. I mean, the full moon to the 5/5. Is it
Yeah,
specifically?
they're the most powerful, time to do it. And then we all know that, when there's a full moon, so the full moon's on Tuesday, that many of us have that's already opened up. It's actually already activated. So, if I hopped off and I pulled, and part of me wanted to do it, I thought, I'm going to ring Yvonne and Melina and, all these other people and say, let's connect tonight. Let's, see what happens and have a little practice run. But, that's pushing it as well, sort of. I don't know. I guess if you push, if you do a date, it's sort of like, there's some energy of control there. But
Well, we could do it like we do the open mics and just jump on. Put up a post, and 3 minutes later you're live.
No, I think something like this, you'd want to create an event, and you wouldn't give people at least 24 hours notice or 48 hours notice. Say we're going to do it at this time on this date, this time on this day, and this time on this date to try to cover those 3 different time zones. And that way, if people in Europe want to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning to be part of the Australian and US one, they can choose to do that.
Yeah. I'm just looking for another slot. So here's another one that's not too bad. Sydney, 10 p.m. New York, 8 a.m.
And England would be up as well, actually.
Yeah, but that'd be... that might work.
That's another good time
8, 7, 6, 11 p.m. Sydney, 9 a.m. New York, which is 8, 7, and 6 U.S., and then 2 p.m. London. Yeah, I think maybe...
And then you would hope that, maybe after one's done, you're going to start seeing invitations from other people and join as many as you can. It's almost like active. We are the grid. We are the individual, points of the grid. And the more people that we connect with, we're activating that grid into being.
Yeah. So we could, because a couple of people made comments, they're not on Facebook. This wouldn't be on Facebook. It'd be in Zoom. But what we could do is I could go on a multi-stream and even post on YouTube and, of course, Facebook and say, here's the link, and then maybe do a couple of quick videos explaining that we're going to the Zoom room and this is the idea behind it.
Yeah, and then we'll all decide whether it gets broadcast or not afterwards.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. I like that plan. And my video production software upgraded for a reason today. So that's good. We're making videos. Allison Glenn, loving Morgan being in my time zone. Usually it's 4 a.m. for me. So this is in preparation for the period after the eclipse up to the 555 gateway. Do you have any other information?
Well, it's just been so busy and so much streaming through, but my understanding of the 555 gateway is that enough of us, so many of us have actually allowed that merging of the divine feminine, the divine masculine, the trinity of the golden child to happen within that, to activate that into being, for the collective. The 5/5 gateway is about that change. It's about, I love everything you do. I immediately feel empowered. All the stuff that I've been, God, I've done all this work. Why isn't this happening? And then you're taking these leaps and I automatically feel it. And am more empowered by what my external picture of my masculine is. If that makes sense. Even though I'd done it myself and I felt all that happen, it wasn't like operating. It wasn't going out there. And yet in ways it was. It was happening personally for me, but it wasn't going out there.
Hmm.
Each step that you take, I feel like what you're doing is powering me up somehow, which is amazing.
I'm not making any more jokes.
No, we're not
um,
talking about your penis. We're talking about energy, Todd.
yeah, but you were making a joke. You just didn't say it as okay.
What
Um,
was it?
what were they? Oh, so Pink E Toes is Bruce. I just figured out because he's always coming on to you. So I knew it was him. I knew it was him. Well, he's great. Yeah. Well, and what you're describing about what your experience has been and how, the role I played or whatever you want to call it, that's what's happening to all of us though, isn't it? And
Yes.
that's what a gathering like this, that's the energy template that it's working off of. It's working off it's like a seesaw, isn't it? It's like, like a seesaw that's just kind of, I mean, everybody's picking up like you've always, it's like a big merge.
Yeah.
It's like a
But
big
we're doing
merge.
that in ourselves. We're doing that in ourselves first and foremost. And many of us have done it or completed it, or, it doesn't even matter. And then what
Right.
happens with us is that even though I've done it in myself, I couldn't mirror it anywhere because you weren't there for me to see the mirror. I say that in full respect. It's not putting you down or
I know
anything.
what you mean.
But I watched,
Well,
the softer that you get, the more your heart opens up, and that's happening in stages, the stronger I'm getting.
yeah,
And it's a strength. It's not a distorted masculine, or I've got to do this or that or whatever. It's just I'm feeling stronger, more capable, more able to manifest anything that I want. The softer that you're getting, the more
hmm,
powerful that you're getting in your softness, the more powerful I'm feeling in my.
firmness.
I don't,
Seriously, I mean, it's a perfect inversion
yeah, but it's
conversion.
like a knowing. I know nothing. Like I'm going to leave here in 8 more sleeps. I haven't got a clue where I'm going to live, but I just know that it's going to be all set up there. It's just all going to fall into place. And I've got friends that say, you're being stupid, you're being not friends. I've got a couple that are saying you need to get organised, you need to organise this, and I just know that I don't. I just know. Well, just look if something comes, have a look. If something else comes, have a look at that. Like I'm not
That's
I'm
right.
not panicking about anything. I just know that
Yeah,
I'm aligned with exactly what I need to be doing, even
that's
though
right.
my brain doesn't have a clue what that is.
Because that's the way this works. The rational, logical, uh, distorted masculine. We it's easy to recognize, and the
Yeah.
intuition is. I was telling you this today because you sent me a note said you looked flat today, and I wasn't flat, but I was telling you that this is what was happening, and that distorted masculine came in and started going, you got to do this and you got to do that, and you start to feel the pressure, and then I just backed off and I was okay. And that's really, to me, listening to the intuition, trusting the intuition, having confidence, making your life choices on it, on intuition. That in these incarnations, we've been mostly familiar with through the term women's intuition. There's a reason for that. That's like that's like in every single culture. It's not just like one place. This is part of our lineage that I think we need to remember.
Yeah. So I think that's the faith that I'm talking about, that essence of faith, of the
Hmm.
not knowing, that enough of us have done this together now, that now let's come together and see what we've done. And it doesn't matter who speaks. It doesn't matter if there's no speaking. Like if we just all sit there and giggle, the code's still being shared. If we sit there in silence, the code's still being shared. But it's bringing that energy all in together with all of these women predominantly, not to say that men haven't, but it's predominantly women all into one space, and be open to what is going to be received.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Mm,
powerful.
mm.
I was telling you, it's like it reminds me of a drum circle, but in a drum circle, everybody goes around and takes a turn. But this is different. This is you're not even dictating that. You're literally stepping into a vortex with no rules from a balanced intention, group intention.
Mm-hmm.
Lordy, what's coming next? You really want to do this now in front of everybody? My light body just took off. It's headed to Sydney. I need to.
I think I said to
abort.
you this morning, you've returned to that innocence of the teenage boy. Just ask it to sit over there, and you'll go and deal with it after.
I can't. I'm going to have to send it a signal. Abort mission. Abort mission. Abort mission. Retreat. Retreat. Do not fire. Do not fire that missile.
There'll be something on a table there. If you just give it a slap on the head, it'll like go back to sleep.
That's not what's happening here at this time.
All right.
That's not what's happening. Okay. So that's good. When do you want to do that? You're Saturday, so Sunday, tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. And then maybe another one Monday or Tuesday, and another one.
Let me see real quick.
I think,
so it's 11. So we could do. Okay, is that right? No. Yeah, it's too late for London. We could do 11 p.m.
I'm sure we can work the details out later on. Put an invite up, and whoever's meant to be there will be there.
Oh yeah, you got a schedule too. I'm gonna have to look at it.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't do that time anyway. I was looking at bloody pinky toes. He said something about bloody knuckles. Take a picture, Todd. Bruce, you have to come on. Everybody has to meet you once and for all, please. Pinky toes.
That was like you, Mr. Pinkleton. Maybe that's his like code name, Pinky Toes and Mr. Pinkleton.
All right. So what else we got? Anything else?
I don't know. Why don't we talk about what you've been going through? You haven't really spoken about that with anyone. What have you been up to? Oh, like, let's keep it. That was, don't ask that question. Like, energetically, no details. What have you been going through?
What? That's like, looking at what a porcupine is, right? So like the porcupine has all those needles and they're all different color, or an ice cream.
Is that
flavor.
like an echidna?
A what? Yes.
An echidna?
Yeah. And so you're like, so which part of it? I mean, there's so much that's happened. I don't even know what time frame you're talking about, but even it was just the last week. I mean, what, you have to help me out here. You're the observer. You have to help me out here. You have to kickstart me, because it's just been multifaceted, as I'm sure it has been for everybody.
Well, you haven't really even discussed all the details with me. You keep saying to me, I'm a changed man. I'm not the man I was 2 weeks ago.
I said that one time. We were having a discussion.
No, you've said it 3 times.
Well, I think what happens is, and it's taken me 5+ years to figure this out. See, we have these conversations in dimension, which I'm not privy to as a conscious human aspect. And because I know you're not, this always happens. But yes.
I think what happened was you were in dimension and I was sitting here looking at you. And you just like drifted off into dimension.
I don't think so.
Which is why you've been talking to me like this.
Not today. Not right now.
No, not right now.
I don't know. Where do you want to start? I mean, I like to would, if I'm going to talk about something that might help people, but I don't. I said what I said a while ago. I realized there's a new language to this new lifestyle, and it's a language that, the feminine energy is familiar with, which is pretty much the females that incarnate in a female body, or the feminine incarnated in a female body, but so that's just something I try to remind myself be conscious of.
Okay, let me be more direct.
Hmm.
Wordsmith, let me be more direct. How are you different today as a man than you were 2 weeks ago?
How am I different? You were here 2 weeks ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I can't really explain that answer based on the new way we talk and the way things come in, because it wasn't really it was like over a period of time. You know what I mean? It wasn't like a switch gets flipped. It was over a period of time. So whenever you have these revelations, it's past, present, future merge. And so it's just a weird language. But what would I say? Well, I think there was a big thing that happened in terms of collective personal sovereignty, and for us and for many, many people. I will say that the feminine energy initiated the good pressure, or the activation, or however you want to put it, which isn't out of the ordinary. But I would say, as you say, specifically as a man, right? Oh, okay.
Or as a woman, if you prefer to talk about it. Todd,
No.
I left 1 week ago today.
Was it only a week ago?
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I realized, and it was before you left, it was like in the 3 or 4 days before you left, because we talked about it, or I told you. And that was the understanding, even from the human level, the human aspect level. Like, I've been surrendering to the goddess for God knows how long. But like everything, there's levels, but there was a new type of understanding that came in simultaneous, go figure, as I cleared space, which was, I don't want to say it's all done, but as I was clearing the last vestiges of distorted masculine, which means so many things like soul responsibility, responsible co-creator, and so on and so on. But one of the things that happened was that I realized, from an aligned multidimensional, all my aspects, multidimensional aspects, including the human aspect, which was leading the charge, that in order for this to happen, this transition, this return to balance, in order for that to happen in my own life, personally, and in my relationship with you, and with my work, let's say Soulgy, and even in this world, it absolutely came down to the last possibility, which is, in all regards, the masculine surrenders and hands over the power totally, not so that the feminine keeps it and commands it forever, but just so there's a total surrender, which is a total trust. And to finally actually do that. And it was a little bit surprising to me, the depth of it, because I thought I had surrendered, but I think the collective energy assisted me, because I think a lot of people during this time period we're talking about, and even now, are really stepping into their personal sovereignty, whether it be, I'm not going to wear a mask, or I'm not getting a vaccine, or that doesn't feel right to me, or I don't want to talk to you, or I'm not going to answer that message. What you just see people stepping into that fulfillment of their or a trajectory of the fulfillment of their sovereignty. But for me, it's just a total, like everything else since this occurred over the last 5 weeks. It's a total new reality. So I put up 3 memes during this time period that said, "The more I know, the less I know." Period. That's ascension, or that's ascending to me, because it's that much of a surrendering as a man, which is part of the multidimensional monad or oversoul community in Todd, or what Todd's a part of. But when that part of me came in and said, "This, not only have we tried everything else, whether we want to admit it or not, but this feels right. This has to happen. It makes sense rationally, logically, and also intelligence-wise and intellect-wise." And from that has come successive elevations, sometimes several times a day. And some are pretty cool. And you break through, which, okay, so one other thing. Another example of that is what we were talking about at the beginning, which is where I was told, and I being a masculine, someone incarnated as a masculine, to carry the masculine energy from a balanced divine union within themselves, and to do something with that, I was given information that this energy level that you're carrying now has something to offer. Like there's enough distortion out of the way that you can actually match her, or maybe apply upward pressure or stimulation, or I don't know how to explain it exactly. You get what I'm saying? And so an example of that is you're gone a couple, 2-3 nights, and I lay down and I said, I'm setting the intention. Now this wasn't like, Todd the human, I miss her. It wasn't like that. I just said, we're going to work. We've got some new tools here, new tools of old. And I set the intention, I want to make love to her tonight. And that's not, you know what I mean? And so what happens is what happened. And so when before we talked and I had the third leg of that experience, I knew when I got out of the shower, and I told you that I said, or I heard, really, I can't say I said it. I heard she's going to feel this like you did. And then what happens? You tell me what happened. And so there's a physical teleportation of at least some of my essence that carried some of the physicality with it. And so this is an example to me as a result of this surrender that you can't fake. And even from the distorted masculine or the wounded masculine or the human aspect masculine, it's logical, it's rational, it makes sense. If you took the labels off feminine and masculine and you put 2 other terms on it, you would have to transfer all of the power over to the other side in order to totally clean out the part that's going to be reformed after the cleanup. That's my story. Was that all right?
I don't know. Was that all right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's kind of hard to think in this energy too. Try doing shows. It was very difficult during this time to do. For 1 week, it was extremely difficult. It was extremely loud. It was extremely noisy. I don't know if that was me or the collective. It doesn't even matter. But everything's being changed now, including Soul Speaks 5D and Todd and the guests that come on, and Todd and Morgan and Soulgy and everything. And it's really a bit, we talked about like when you go on a roller coaster and you go down the hill and your stomach drops. There's a bit of that, but there's also some really, really powerful like love affair. You know what I mean? It's like you're falling in love with yourself, truly. And it's so cool because you don't have to, by the old ways, go out and project it out there. Not that you're just this contagious, energetic, illuminating expanding, effervescent bubble that's being picking up like frequencies, and it's expanding rapidly. Oh, wait a minute.
What?
Well, Robert Snedden said, Todd, can you take a breath with how you're feeling at this moment? Looks like you have something deeper here waiting to be shared. Hand on chest. I'm just trying to see if I resonate with that. Hand on chest and just stop while you read into your heart. Well, okay, that's a very good observation. Because it triggers something in me. Not triggering in a bad way. But what it is, what he's saying, that what he's is observing is how I feel most of the time since the last 10 days or so, particularly since we separated physically, and this is all good, was what I'm talking about. There's just been this expansion of this energy that kind of gives you the jitters, right? I mean, that's just for me. And it stays there, and it's not like debilitating, but it's always there. Have you had any of that? You feel lit up? No.
Yeah, I'm behaving like a child. Like I had a friend that you know about who decided to send me a care package. And in that care package, I think there are about 6 or 8 packets of Maltesers, like big packets, 10 packets of barbecue shapes and Tim Tams and all this. And it was like a massive big bag, chock-a-block full of all this stuff. Because he knew how much I missed, some of my Australian favourites. And I looked at it last night and I, oh my God, I can't stand this. I can't stand it. It's too much. So I put it outside my door for rubbish. And I woke up this morning, it was still there. I'm like, oh, I could have some fun with this. So I laid on the floor, holding my door open with my leg, and I'm swinging it down the hallway as far as I can, trying to get a packet of chocolate to each door and a packet of biscuits to each door and a packet of Tim Tams to each door. And I had the time of my life. And then I spoke to you and you said, they would have cracked up laughing watching you do that. And then I thought about, oh my God, of course there's probably cameras here. That's probably breaking the law. And there's an $11,000 fine if you get caught, outside of, no, I wasn't outside the room, but even with the door open without a mask on. Something, oh my goodness, what have I done? What have I done? But I had the time of my life doing that. I really did. So I'm not experiencing what you're experiencing. I'm experiencing this. I'm becoming multidimensional even more so, I guess. There is this inner child that's having a lot more fun, that's, in joy constantly. And I've had 3 triggers since I've been here, but they've lasted minimally. And then I come, very quickly back into this balanced state. That's probably the closest I've been to maybe what you're experiencing. But I think
I'm not. But I mean, what I'm experiencing isn't like anxiety. I've had a couple of moments, and they lasted, maybe 3 minutes, 10 minutes. But it's just
I'm responding to the word jittery that you said. There's this jittery.
Well, what's a bad? It's the wrong. It's just, I don't know. It's just like everything's dancing, right? Like I told you today when we talked, I said I got to go for a walk, and a long walk. It was a long walk, and we're talking probably 2 miles, maybe 3. But yeah, it's just, I don't know how to explain it. Somebody was on the show. Oh, by the way, I got to show everybody what you're talking about. You see, this is her neighbor's door, and she threw the candies. Can you imagine? Can you imagine being the security guard in a hotel, in a lockdown
watching a
hotel,
grown woman
watching the security camera, and there's a woman who's got her legs holding the door open, spread out, into throwing candy. And look, this person's going to come out of there.
I didn't throw it. I was skimming it along the carpet, like bowling. I was bowling. It's not candy, chocolate and biscuits and Tim Tams, and I mean, I had an absolute hoot. I really, really enjoyed it. And hopefully, I don't get arrested this afternoon.
God.
Or fined.
No, that's not going to happen. Yeah. So we'll set this up. Set this sister circle up. Feminine, what do you want to call
I don't know. I mean, the details will come. Maybe somebody else will come forth and say, I think, I understand what it is. I got the same download and this is what we're doing. There's no urgency. I guess if you got something up
Did
even
you
tomorrow.
Did you leave any Tim Tams over here? None?
No.
Only
Somebody
Tim
sent me a packet about 3 months ago,
Tam.
and I think, I think there's 10 Tim Tams in a packet. So we had 3 each initially, and I think there were 4 left. And I spent like the next 2 or 3 months, I'd have like 1 a month. So, they're all gone. I can't go and get them. But, once I get settled, I'll send you a packet, Todd.
That sounds good. He does not have chicken wings. Some of these
Who said that was you? That was you. You typed that.
No, I didn't type
Julie,
that.
I'm only joking. He's absolutely beautiful, but I like just teasing him every now and again.
She likes the big hulky guys.
Who does?
You, Morgan.
No, I don't. No.
Like,
I like you. You're very sinewy. Like everything's really tight and strong, without having all that bulk.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I'll go to work on that. I am going to be asleep in an hour.
Who, you?
40 minutes. Yeah. I'm going to try to go to bed at midnight from now on so I can get up and sometimes catch you, before you go to bed. Pinky toes. Morgan, you could resist me. You're such a weirdo. That's Bruce Fischetti. He needs to come on. I'm going to do a Soulgy Fest broadcast Sunday. And we have 2 shows Sunday. Joe Delaney and Yvonnya are going to be on Sunday. And I'm going to do a Soulgy Fest thing. And I'll probably do a Soulgy Fest thing tomorrow. I'm working on some videos. I'm going to start doing video production again. And I'm going to be putting some stuff together to try to support this expansion for all of us. Yes, I like it.
Okay.
I've been juicing for 3 days, by the way. Mostly. I've stayed on it. Well, the main thing is I've been drinking the juice.
Well, I know on the first day you said, I'm dropping in, I need to get something to eat. So you went out for dinner on the first night. Today you said to me you're going to have some, like you're going to make some salad and maybe an egg tonight.
No.
And you're asking me Tim Tam, so.
Yeah. So, I'm just trying to get used to it.
I know. I'm just teasing you.
I know. Is that code? Yeah. Code. I don't know what he's talking about. They're out of control over here. What am I juicing? Kale, spinach, broccoli, cucumbers, apples, oranges, tomatoes. I was going to call you and say, can I juice a tomato?
Oh, well, I guess you can.
I did. And actually I did 2 tomatoes in this, pretty big pitcher. And it made a difference. It made it really, really good because it's all organic. Yeah, and other stuff too, just like lettuce and carrots. Big time on the carrots. I'm going to go find some beetroot. Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm going to stick with this. And then every Sunday go to Waffle House and get 3, get a cup of coffee, 3 eggs, over medium, hash browns, grits, 2 sausages and bacon and butter. Yeah. Just once a week, maybe. Maybe. Yeah, I need to get some turmeric because I got some ginger. I have ginger and celery. I have that too. That's a good one. Yeah. I think this is a great idea. And I'm going to be focusing on more and more broadcasting, which means, more airtime so we can expand this thing and do our part. When I'm not on camera with you privately or in the ethers, which seems to be a whole new world. Monique says grits. What is that? You don't know what grits is? Grits? Grits
I
are
don't
good.
know what grits is either, and I lived there for years. Monique,
It's ground cornmeal, and it's really good. If you ever want to know what grits,
let me
are,
explain to Monique what grits is. Grits is that, I can't think what it's called. When we had our babies and they were coming off milk and they had that powder stuff that you put milk in, that's what grits is.
that's not grits.
It's
is
the closest thing I can think of that it
no.
looks like and
She
tastes
says
like.
it's awful. It's not awful. See, Annie Weberly says grits are good. Grits are real good.
No, it's
Okay.
like baby food.
Okay, so you get a bowl of grits. You get 2 medium eggs, really 3, and you over medium. You put them in the grits. You chop up bacon, put it in the grits, cheese, and if you jalapenos you want, and you mix it all together. A couple of shots of Louisiana hot sauce, and that is the best, absolutely best.
Yeah, it's
Ground
like bacon and
hominy.
all that with baby food. I wish I could think what that baby food was called, but it came like in like a no, it wasn't powder. It was like little miniature
Oh,
flaky things,
I
and you
know what you're
mix
talking
it with your breast milk or the baby
Yeah,
milk.
yeah, that was
That's
formula.
grits.
Yeah, I used to do
That's
that.
grits.
I used to feed babies, lots of babies. Try peppers as well. Yeah, I put peppers in mine. I put serrano peppers. Absolutely, 100%. Hominy. It's hominy, not cornmeal. Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. I stand corrected. I like hominy by itself too. It's good. So, okay, this is good. An hour and 25 minutes. Throw some slap your mama Cajun seasonings and we got a meal. Yep, that's right. So, okay, this is good. Thank you, everybody. You want to? There's
I'm
144
good.
people. 144 people again. So, thank you very much for your continued love and support and contributions that allow us to keep doing this. And Soulji is a community built for all of us by all of us. So that's where my work is to keep trying to pull everything together. Now that I'm a more balanced soul.
That's because you're aware of your vagina and ovaries and breasts. God, that was spectacular. You became very protective of them, like in your light body. Do you remember, Todd? And you felt like you didn't want anyone coming near your vagina. And from that moment, like everything changed.
Okay. I will I'll hit you up in 30 minutes. I need to
That's true.
No, I know. I just need to recalibrate. Okay. After I've been exposed. We love you too. All of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll see you in half an hour, honey.
All right.
If you don't mind. Okay. Bye-bye.